I basically just like I basically built a garden space in connected to lots of different houses. So I built this one connecting to it. I built like a little prefab kitchen so that when I took the photos, it would look all right. Like when I took all the photos and as I was building it, you had that kitchen in the background, which so it looks more like realistic. You can imagine it as like a little home for like to look out onto your little family yard or, a small house with this little like garden. Um, Here, I thought this was a really good thing that I just recently started doing. Basically, the planters, I sized them down by one and I put them like this. You see a lot of these in like real life in people's gardens, like built up different square, like, mud pots and planters and tree planters. And I thought this is a really good way to just like conserve space. You just put it all in one corner. It works in like any, small garden, or if you don't have much room, you can just tower up these planters. You don't have to have the one at the front if you don't want to. You could just have it like a corner piece. But I thought this was like an interesting thing, even if you built them up and had it as like a planter that was like a lot more higher than other things and have it resting against something else or a little sitting area. I think it's a good way to have some beauty and, natural like plants and nature in your garden, as well as like not taking up a ridiculous amount of room. I'd use these little awnings as well as a place to pop some like has to have it as like a little stacker for plants. So I end up putting some plants on there like that to make it look a little bit more realistic again and conserve space. And I tried to put some more plants, as you can see, like next to the actual planters. I'm pretty sure I ended up not liking the one on the right hand side. I think I used this big like ship one here so that they're both like barrel kind of base, and I end up sizing that down and putting it on the little shelf stacker. And we've got our seating area, we've got our little fire pit, and then there's a nice little gap where it is separate space, and then you've got all your naturey kind of plant decorations and stuff like that. So I really liked how this went out. I was gonna put a little like mushroom seat down at first, but I chose not to. I wanted to put a little statue in, so I sized it down. I put this angel among the plants. Yeah, and then underneath the window where there's some space, I just put a planter to try and fill the gap. I put some bins to add that realistic look, like you could just come out your back door and your bins are right there. And I put a light next to the door, so I make sure that there's lights around the garden. I put this like really cute looking grill there as well, so it's got like a colourful kind of vibe as we can see here in the photos. It's a really beautiful, quite light garden with light colours, and you can see out the windows as well. And then I made sure everything looked nice and lit up at night, that it was, it covered the space well so that you could see everything. And we've got some photos as well of how it looks at night here. I think it looks really nice at night. This is the second garden space. This is like a lot smaller. I thought this could be just like a small garden for maybe like I don't know, a small home. Maybe one or two Sims could live here. It's not too big. It's not like a big enough garden for loads of people to be in. But I thought it's nice for like, maybe two people to come out, barbecue a bit of food, have a little sit down. And I tried to experiment with the terrain in this one, not really putting down too much. I just did some plants next to the barbecue, and some of them it's got a bit of like a messy kind of vibe. They're not too flowery. They're just like more like greenery and shrubs and bushes that only have a few flowers on, so that they're not too like in your face and intrusive. That I do put some pots down as well at some point. I think you're about to see it. Not the big planters, the small planters, them ones where they're like small circle barrel ones. I did them in like a little shape like that and sized them up and down and put just some plants in each one. I thought that looked quite nice. I thought it looked, out the way and like conserved into one little space instead of just all over the place, so that you had like space to walk around and it wasn't too, again, it didn't take up all the space in the garden because I feel like that looks a bit too full on for such a small garden. So here's some photos of it in the daytime. It's just simple and cute. And then made sure it looked nice at nighttime, all lit up and everything. So I think that looks the same. I think it looks really nice and cute. And this is our third one. This is like went for more of like a little modern build. Maybe this is like a front way kind of garden, or maybe this is like a block of flats and this is the loft cut, or it could even just be a normal back garden in quite a modern house. The whole way I was decorating this for ages, I did not notice that one block of gravel on the outside of the fence, and I don't know why I didn't because it's really irritating me now, but I do delete it at some point. So I just put some little plants in the pots again. I do the same thing I did last time, so that they're like out the way because this is a very small one and a lot of room's already been taken up by the table. So I didn't really want to do too much more. I just wanted to keep it as like a simple seating area where you could just go out there and have a little sit down or take your food out there and have, a cup of tea or something. Um, so I just left it like this. I had it as like a nice little just seats available, a few plants and that out the way in pots and everything. I thought it looked really good. And then I have some photos as well of it coming up in a minute once I've done that planter. So that's how it looked in the daytime like that. And then I made sure the same that it looked what it looked like at night, made sure everything lit up enough. If you were gonna sit out there and have you'd be able to see everything to make it nice and realistic. I got rid of the gravel as well, and that's what it looks like at night. And that's the view from inside. And then this is the fourth build. This is probably, I think this is the smallest garden, and I wanted to go quite like an interesting, like creative kind of theme. Like all the other gardens were quite simple and light, so I wanted to make this one dark with a lot of like black furniture and like dark furnishings and that. I thought it could maybe be somebody who's like into that kind of vibe. I wanted it to be a bit different to the others because we did like a modern one, and then we did like a stereotypical pretty family one, and then we did like a minimalistic, like nature one with just a few plants, and it's just like a normal one. So I thought this one I looked really cool, and I wanted to separate it like that. With I put some floor lights in to separate the like terrain. It wasn't terrain actually. That was actual gravel that I placed. I wanted it to have a green spot and a gravel spot where you could go and sit down on the gravel. I put some candles on the ledge. It depends where this would be in your game. I mean, it could be, I don't know, you could have attached it to something, or it could be like the back of a building, and obviously there'd be better scenery and stuff going on around these gardens. Whereas obviously in these builds you can just see the other builds in the background, which obviously ruins it a bit. But you've got to imagine that it's somewhere more like idyllic, or somewhere more pretty and has better background looks. And then here I just randomly put this spider in with all the plants. I just thought it was like a cool decoration that someone would maybe stick to the wall if they wanted. I don't know. I just went for it, and I just put a bin in again for a bit of realistic, stuff, and make sure that it's all nice and lit up and everything. So I only took one photo of how it looked in the daytime. I took this one here, and then I made sure it looked nice at night as well. And I took these ones for how it looked at night, and I made sure to put all of the as you can see that I put all of the lighting and the floor strips all the way around and everything. So with that, I have a few photos that I will share, but of the ones that I didn't include, of some of the more like ones that show the prefabs a bit more, I guess, in different kind of angles. But with that, just let me know what you think I should build next. If you want to see any more creative ideas, or for small spaces, or specific house builds, room builds, everything. Just let me know what you think, and I hope you all have a great day or night whenever you're watching this.